The Decorah Vikings getting ready for the first round of the 4A playoffs this week as they make the long bus ride down to North Scott. Head coach Pat Trewin joining us. And coach, the bad news was you didn't get the result you wanted last Friday night against Waverly Shellrock, but the good news is you're still playing football. Fair to say?
Yeah, very. We're proud of our season and our team, and we play some pretty hard, some pretty good football. And especially defensively, it was really a tremendous effort. We had given up the ball once, and they got a quick drive on us once with a couple of passes, and then boom, we played pretty even after that, and it was very, very physical ball game against a good ball club. And 6-3 make the playoffs. 16 teams get to do it in our class out of 36. About a third of the state is playing still, and 2/3 is done with the season, and we get this neat opportunity, and we got some great young people. So happy about the possibilities, and we're talking about what we can do to beat an incredible North Scott team, defending state champs, #1 ranked, and we're going to see what we can do.
Anything in particular your team needs to take away from last Friday night, or is it just all focusing on the playoffs now?
Well, the main thing that we know we have to do better is just to be able to execute and keep the chains where we want to keep them. We'd make a good play, then we'd make a play where we'd give up yards, whether it was a sack or a play where we connect in the backfield and we lose yards, or it's a penalty. And so to try to keep the sticks more regular and keep our execution crisp, that's important. And then we got everybody with a tough district title game. You got to feel physically good going into this next game. And everybody gets a little beat up here and there. And we just got to do what we can this week to be as healthy as we can, and then get really physical again this Friday.
How do you go about preparing for a team that you haven't faced before?
Well, we have about 3-4 game films of them. You break them down. Each of the coaches watch the game film and especially concentrate on their area of expertise, their needs. You look at the players, you look at the stats, you have stats for the year, and you say, okay, what can we do to disrupt them when we're on defense? What can we do to get stops and disrupt them? Are there any holes in the special team area that maybe we can take advantage of? And then offensively, how do we move the ball against them? You get against a team this seasoned, this good, you got to find a way to have the ball bounce your way a couple times. So you try to set things up, and you try to have some great effort. And we're also just talking to our guys about, have the big dream of going and beating a team like this. So it's both execution and then, get the game plan together. Certainly you're not going to get every play that they have. They probably, hopefully, don't know every play that we have. So just read your keys, get after them.
And of course, from the outside looking in, we look at North Scott. We know they're undefeated. We know they're the defending state champ, ranked #1 in the state, but we don't know a lot of specifics about North Scott. What have you been able to find out about this squad? What makes them such an elite squad?
Well, the first thing is their depth. They start about 19 different guys offensively, defensively, only 2 guys both ways. They have some size, they're not all big. Their linebackers and DBs aren't all big, but they're very strong. They look very strong on film. They have some big linemen up front on both sides of the ball. And then they run a pretty diverse attack. They're very spread. I think some of their plays look a lot like the plays that we run. And then they've got a couple of other running plays that they've put some time in and worked on perfecting. So you look at who are their players with the biggest ability. How do you control them and maybe see if you can get the quarterback to not throw the ball so accurately by rushing him. And then you really got to cover their best people really, really well. Otherwise, they're going to take advantage of you. So Game planning each part of the game is very important.
And of course, this is a 3.5 hour bus ride for you guys. I believe this is probably the longest bus ride for a Decorah program since playing Spencer and Pella in non-district play, perhaps in 97 and 98. How do you go about managing a bus ride that long?
Well, we'll get out of school a little early. We've got some time built in the end of the days on Friday because there's so many activities that do that. And then we'll have a little sack lunch on the way. We may take a brief stop to get out, stretch our legs, get there just early enough so that we can move around. 3 hours on a school bus is a little tougher. So you kind of get banged around doing that. But the kids are young, they're resilient, and you try to create the focus for, okay, this is the beginning of the game time. Let's build backwards. Let's make sure that we get there in time to move around and get see the facility, and then make sure that we get ourselves all taped up and ready to go. And you want to have a little lead time for a little thinking and talking and checking out the field. So we've traveled before. For a few years there, we'd go 2 hours to 2.5 hours almost every road game we had. So these guys haven't had to experience as much of that. But get yourself a little sack lunch and take off early enough, and just keep your focus on playing winning football.
And maybe this is one of these things that us media guys talk about just for a point of conversation. I don't know how much reality there is to it, but looking at this matchup as for the expectation of a result, North Scott is definitely a favorite going into this game. Does that mean your kids can kind of let it hang loose and kind of play with no pressure? Because really, from a result perspective, from us media jackals, there's probably no pressure on you guys, correct?
Yeah, we talk about playing loose. Just play your heart out, play as hard as you can play. Try and stay in your head and execute the right things. But you talk about shocking the world or being the underdogs. So you hope to bring all the energy you can bring. And you wonder, they're playing at home. They've never played us before. They look at our record, and they even watch some of our film, and they'll say, these guys aren't very good. And you hope that just a few of their kids aren't up for the game, and then somehow you get out to some early really good plays that can frustrate them and maybe scare them a little. You hope you can do that. You never know. You don't know if you can pull that off or not. Decorah has done that at times throughout the years. We've played number 1 or number 2 or number 3 ranked teams. Sometimes the first or second game in the playoffs. Sometimes we've beaten them. Sometimes we pulled off the upset. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes you go into a game and they have all the pieces and they make the plays. But you get this. You gave us this great opportunity to do something else special. Let's come one more step and see if we can make the season even more special.
All right. Sounds like a plan to me. Keep your kids healthy, and what the heck? Let's have a conversation next week, Coach. We wish you best of luck.
Thank you.
Pat Trewin, head coach of the Decorah Vikings. They get ready for the long bus ride down to top ranked North Scott in the first round of the 4A playoffs Friday night.